Hey guys, right now I'm actually still on the pure protein diet. However, I decided to do another video about Vince Gironda's steak and eggs diet because people are always interested in Vince Gironda and his diets, me included. Now, most of you have already read my PDF that I send out to my newsletter subscribers about the first 30 days that I was on the steak and eggs diet. And you will probably also remember that the steak and eggs diet is not a diet where you have to count calories or where you have to measure anything. However, if you read the article, you'll remember that I'm kind of OCD and I measured and counted everything anyway, just to keep track. Now, what I thought would be interesting for a video is to talk about exactly what Vince Gironda's macros were the first time that he created this diet. So I found an old article, it's called The Meat, Egg, and Water Diet by Vince Gironda, and in it he discusses very specifically his first trials with this diet, when he first developed it. While training to win the, quote, world's most muscular man title, I devised a diet that gave me maximum muscle size with almost zero body fat. It's what I call the, quote, steak and eggs diet. The first time I tried the steak and eggs diet, I stayed on it for 9 months. I ate only 2 meals per day, each consisting of 3/4 pounds of steak and 3 eggs. At the evening meal, I also had a small mixed green salad. I used no supplements whatsoever and noticed no adverse effects as a result of this. I achieved the best condition of my career on this diet. After 9 months of contest dieting and training, I noticed that I was actually growing, not just maintaining maximum muscularity. Now that's very interesting. So this is not going to be 100% accurate because we don't know exactly what he ate, but I'm going to try to recreate the macros that he had in his diet. Okay, I don't know exactly what kind of steak or what kind of eggs to look up, but I do notice that in another paragraph in the same article he said, surprisingly, some of the less expensive cuts of meat like chuck and round steak are higher in protein and lower in fat content than sirloin steak or filet mignon. So what I decided to do was to look up beef outside round for the steak and to get the macros for large eggs. Okay, so 3/4 pound of beef outside round is 74 grams of protein, 0 carbs, 19 grams of fat, 480 calories. 3 large eggs are 19 grams of protein, 1.2 grams of carbs, 15 grams of fat, 222 calories. That means per meal, because he ate 3 large eggs and 3/4 pound of steak twice a day, each meal was 93 grams of protein, 1.2 grams of carbs, 34 grams of fat, 702 calories. Or, when you consider that he ate twice a day, his macros for the day were 186 grams of protein, which is 53% of his calories came from protein, 2.4 grams of carbs, which is 0.68%, and 68 grams of fat, which is 44%, for a total of 1,404 calories, okay? 1,404 calories per day. And like I said, percentage of calories were 53% protein and 44% fat, which is a lot different from what people always say you need to have such a high percentage of fat when you go into a low carb diet, a ketogenic diet like this, okay? That being said, you are allowed to use as much butter as you want when you're cooking. So the question is this the exact kind of meat he ate? I don't know. Okay, how much butter was he using when he cooked his steaks? How much butter was he using when he cooked his eggs? So that could have increased the fat a little bit, maybe a lot. However, like I said, this is a good approximation of what he was eating. I also thought it would be interesting to figure out exactly how many grams of protein and how many calories he's getting per pound of body weight. Now that's once again kind of interesting because by all accounts he was 5 feet 8 inches tall. However, what did he weigh? The top weight I ever heard was 187 pounds. He said himself that his best condition was 165 pounds. So that was 5 feet 8 inches tall, 165 pounds. Now, let's see, if he was taking in 1,404 calories at 165 pounds, that would be about 8.5 calories per pound of body weight, okay? And 186 grams of protein for 165 pounds would be about 1.1 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Now, remember, he was extremely, extremely lean. Okay, this is the guy who was ripped before it was cool to be ripped. He could never win first place in a bodybuilding tournament because he was, quote, too ripped. The judges didn't like him being so ripped. They liked guys that looked like John Greimek, for instance. So when you say 5'8", 165 pounds is not really a big guy, that's true. But when you consider what he looked like, how ripped he was, he is actually pretty big. And we're looking at like the top, the peak of what you can achieve naturally without steroids.